what you want, what you want.
Hey, welcome back to another tutorial over here at unhingedprops.com. Our inspiration for this next project, and truly I'm excited about this project. This project's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to turn out really cool. Anyway, the inspiration was sent to me by Diablo85, better known as Jose Lopez from Haunter's Hangout. He had sent me the picture of this clown. Now, I don't know the original artist or where this thing came from. I have no idea. I looked on the internet trying to find out who the original artist was, but I couldn't find it out. I would love to give the person credit because this is a killer Joker. It's just absolutely awesome. Anyway, he sent me a picture of that and was basically like a challenge. He's like, I'd like to see you make this. And I was like, sure, dude, I can get it done. But in doing that as well, I figured what I would do is make this a tutorial so you guys could go step by step along the way and make one yourself. So anyway, before I get going, if you guys want if you're going to do this and you want this picture as inspiration for yourself, there's a couple ways you can get it. You can either go to the brew page and I posted the picture on there. You can copy it and put it onto your computer, or you can just give me you can just email me at unhingedprops@gmail.com. That's unhingedprops@gmail.com. And I'll send you the photo so you can save it to your computer or print it off or whatever it is you want to do. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can do head sculptures and things for props with paper mache. But one of the easiest ways to do it, truly, is to use a pre-made styrofoam head like this. Really speeds up the process, because really all you have to do is put some eyes on this and you can just put clay straight to this styrofoam and you're off to the races. And you can sculpt out a head in one night. It's very simple. If you're going to have over-exaggerated faces, you may have to build on some cardboard and some different things to add these different features to your face. But using one of these really speeds up the process. We'll probably do a couple different tutorials here in the near future where we use a few of these, but we're not going to on this one. Also, if you do want to use these in the future, you can buy these little styrofoam heads at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, craft stores like that, and they range from $5 to $8, just depending on where you're at. So anyway, it's good to have a couple of these in your arsenal, especially when you want to throw something together real quick. But today, what we're going to do with this particular project is I want to show you that you can make these things literally from absolutely nothing. So we're going to build the base armature for this just out of newspaper and tape, and that's it. Now, we're going to have some PVC as well. The PVC structure that's going in the inside really helps bring the armature together. But the second part of the reason for the PVC is that in future tutorials, once we're done with this, which is the head and the shoulders, down to the shoulders, that's going to be the end of this tutorial, but it's not going to be the end of this overall project. By the end of a few months here, this is going to be a full out project. It's going to be everything: arms, torso, legs. So you're going to have a complete full prop that can stand up in your yard, and then can be disassembled at the different joint parts. The arms will pop off, the torso will come off, the legs will come off, so they'll all be disassembled and then put into a tote to be stored when you're not using it. So anyway, that's how I like to do my things. I can come apart, that way I can store them easier. But anyway, this is going to be exciting. This is going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to this one. I hope you guys are too. This tutorial here is just the beginning, and all we're going to do on this one is make the armature. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn it. And then here in another couple of weeks, we'll be adding some more details to this armature, and we can just do this together. So quit letting me waste time, and let's get on with the tutorial. To start this off, we're going to need some 1-inch PVC, one 1-inch T, two 1-inch 45-degree elbows. We're going to need some newspaper, some tape, and some paper mache paste. First off, let's cut the PVC into 3 different pieces. One of them needs to be 15 inches long, and then the other two need to be 6.5 inches long. The 15-inch piece is going to be used for basically the neck and head, and then the two 6.5-inch pieces are for the shoulders. Now the first thing to do is install the neck piece in the T. Then from that point we want to make a mark 6 3/4 inch up from the T. This mark here is going to represent basically the base of the skull, where the bottom of the head is going to be. And we'll use this reference point when we start putting on our paper to add girth to this. Now let's add on the shoulder pieces. As far as the 45-degree elbows, you can put those on basically any angle you want. Just going to depend on how you want your arms coming off later on. The first area we're going to start off with is the head. First thing we're going to do is take some newspaper, shove it down real tight inside that PVC, and then tape it tightly to it. That's going to keep this newspaper from wanting to swivel around on the PVC. As well, remember, this part we're just working on putting bulk and area to create what's going to be our head. Keep in mind that line that we put on the PVC earlier. You don't want to bring the head down past that line. That line is there to represent where the neck is going to start. So right now we just want to keep all this paper up above that line and bulk it out. You may want to think about this like how sculptors who work with clay, they'll have a base, wood, metal, whatever it is, and then they just put lumps and lumps of clay onto that to get everything started before they start doing their sculpting. Basically, we're doing the same thing, but we're not using clay. We're just using newspaper and tape. So one piece at a time, wad it up, and put it on. Now I keep this, I keep the styrofoam head there just as a reference for size, because I want this head to be close to human size, maybe a little bit bigger. Now the styrofoam heads are a little bit smaller than a natural human, so keep that in your mind as you're doing these. Or always, if you want more of a human size head, it's going to have to be a little bit bigger than that styrofoam head. Now that we got our head bulked out in basically decent shape, we're going to move on to adding material to the rest of this thing. So we'll start off with the neck. We're going to add some newspaper to it, widen it out some, and then tape it into place. There's not a lot of rocket science with this. It's just adding paper one piece at a time and bringing some size and some girth to our project. Now as you see, you can barely see there, but I have my reference picture sitting on the table. I'm constantly going back and looking at the basic outlining shapes of that body. How do the muscles look? How thick are they? Where are they at? Where do they stop? Where do they end? And at this point in time, all I'm doing is just adding different wads and lumps of paper to bring up this project, to bring this thing into a kind of a 3D realism, just to represent the baselines of that picture itself. So always adding paper, taping, going back, looking at the picture again, adding more, going back, looking at it again, until I start getting the general shape of what we're going after. Just keep in mind that at this point in time, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just going to add newspaper here and there and do a rough sculpture of this, adding in a little bit of muscle detail like on these chest pieces and detail on the back. You're just getting a base overall structure to give you something to start with, to give you something to really add detail to. So don't worry at this point if it doesn't look perfect or if it doesn't look sculpted out. It's not a big deal. This is just the armature. But also keep in mind, the better the armature is, the easier it's going to be to finish this project out. Okay, so I have a little bit of problems with the camera earlier, so we missed out on some footage. But basically, all I did, like what we saw before, just wadding up newspaper and making shapes and putting them in places to bulk up the beginnings of the muscle, the neck, the chest pieces, just getting the underlying muscle and girth built out on it. Today I'm going to widen this neck out just a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and skin this with the first layer of mache, get that all done, and basically that'll be the armature. It'll be finished up after that. Then once we're done with that, we'll come in and start building out the face and creating the features there and really doing a lot of focus on that. So anyway, I'm sorry again that some of the footage was missed, but just rolling up newspaper and different sections, laying it down just to create some of the muscle structure you see, like here on the back side here, and the lats and things here, and I'm going to add a few more pieces in here, and then we'll do bulk up this neck a little bit and start machining it. I know I said this armature didn't have to be perfect to begin with, but man, as I was looking at this thing, something just kept screaming that something was off on it, and I really couldn't figure it out, so kept looking at the picture and pulled up some other muscle detail pictures on the internet, and come to realize that I needed some more shoulder. I needed some more muscle around the shoulder because our armature was just dropping off at the end and there was no shoulder texture, no shoulder muscle there. So all we're going to do right now is I was adding small wads of paper at the very end of the shoulder and taping it down and just rounding this off to give it that that shoulder feel, or that there's more muscle there. So if you kind of pay attention to the video here, you'll see I'll do the neck shoulder again. You can see where I start off with a little piece of newspaper at the top, tape it down, kind of get that round shape going, and then I'll throw another one over the top of that edge, that pec muscle, to bring this shoulder muscle where it feels like it's actually rolling through and down and around. I mean, really, when it comes to sculpting and creating people or creatures or animals, whatever it is, it does pay off to really pay attention to the anatomy of whatever it is you're doing. Get on Google Images, look up, the muscle structure of what you're working on. All those small details, when you try to add these things in, the muscle, the way it is, the way it lays out, it just really helps bring out at the end that your creation is almost lifelike, and it really gives that illusion that what you're looking at is real. So always go to Google Images, check it out, and try to bring in the details of the structure or the anatomy as well as you can. Now, last step here for making our armature is we're simply going to just strip mache. We're going to layer this up with 4 or 5 layers of strip mache from top to bottom. Now, the technique I use is one that I picked up from Dan Reeder. I've done a lot of different techniques. This really like it, especially when I'm working on a big armature like this. I'm just using my hands. I'm not dipping the newspaper into the mache paste. I'm putting my hands in the mache paste, and then I am I'm rubbing that mache paste onto my armature, and then I'm adding dry paper to it, and then rubbing that down and adding more paste. So just one piece of paper at a time, more paste, spread until you cover this thing from top to bottom. Again, you want to cover this with at least 5 to 6 layers. You want this base armature to be very strong. So layer it up, cover it all the way up one time, come back, cover it up again, and you may go back and cover it up one more time, and then let it set to dry. But once we got all of our strip mache on here, then our armature is done. So from this point on, we can really start adding detail and bringing this project to life. Okay, so now we basically have our armature done or completed. It looks pretty rough right now. A lot of these things we'll clean up later. We'll add different muscle tone and sculpture into it when we add clay. It's pretty well done as far as armature goes. There's a few things I noticed on the chest pieces that'll have to be changed once it dries, but anyway, this is just armature and this is what we're going to start with. I recommend to you guys as well what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this set overnight and dry up, and tomorrow I'm going to come back and do another couple layers of mache on this again, just to strengthen this up. You really want that base armature to be as strong as possible, so I'm going to let this dry overnight. Tomorrow I'm going to hit it again with 2 or 3 layers, maybe 4 layers, just to strengthen it up, let that dry, and then we'll come back and film our next step. So in the next step, I know this head, when you're looking at this, the neck seems relatively relatively long, or the head seems a little high for the shoulders. Part of it will bulk some of these shoulders up, but when we look at our reference picture again, which I'll show you in just a minute, the jawline's pretty big and it comes out pretty far from the face. So what we'll be doing on the next step where we're filming, we're going to start the facial features where we'll pull this jawline out, and this jawline will probably start in somewhere in here and then come out this way. This Joker's got a very over-exaggerated jaw. So we'll bring the features out of the jaw, we'll bring some of the cheekbone structures out and around here, and then we'll of course add in the eye sockets and the nose in the upper part of the jaw. And once we get this other section of the jaw coming out here, it's really going to start bringing in proportion on this thing. So right now, yeah, I know it looks a little funky, but as we add the other details to it, it'll all start coming together and come within shape. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed, guys. Wait around next time. We're going to be adding the features to this and moving along, so I'll see you in the next one.
What you want, what you want. Come on. What you want, what you want. Come on.